Okay, so I'm pretty sure you are not expecting to see me over here in the UK today, but I've just actually spent the past few days here, past 3 days, I've just been over to see my mum, but we're heading back to Palma now and you're going to join me for the journey. Now, I did make a flight video on my way back from Palma. I'm going to integrate that into this video because I did actually make some interesting observations when I came to the UK with EasyJet, but we'll talk about those later. But for now, join me as we head on through Bristol Airport. We're going to see how busy it is today, whether it's still worth getting yourself some winter sunshine, and guess who I'm flying back to Palma with today? I'm back on that Ryanair experience. So join me on my journey. Come on, I'm going to take you with me. Let's head on back to the island. So it is a busy Friday afternoon here at Bristol Airport, and we're just seeing the City Fly buses coming in. Lots of people seem to be getting out and making a trip today. Let's head on into departures. I'm just coming into the departures area for Jet2 and Ryanair. Let's go and see how busy that is. So the one day of the week where I've heard there being big queues over at Palma Airport, on the arrivals at Palma Airport, has been on a Friday evening. And of course that's due to the amount of people travelling. So we're going to see what it's like when we get into Palma tonight. Are we going to get a smooth passage through the airport? This is going to be particularly relevant for you as well if you're hoping to come out to the island for a long weekend too. We are still in the summer season. As you may well know, the summer season continues until the 31st of October. But anyway, come on, let's head on up through departures. So just looking up at the flight information board here, I can see that everything's looking okay for my flight over to Palma at 10 to 5. But I can see that we do have a series of delays, and that's with the EasyJet flights this afternoon, heading off to Faro, Malaga, Alicante and Antalya in Turkey. We've got 4 delays and it's just with that particular airline. Now, I can see everything else looks like it's pretty much going out on time. I'm glad our flight's going out on time. So come on, let's head on up towards security. So the first thing I'm going to say is, if you're thinking about getting some winter sunshine before the summer season ends, over in Mallorca, get those flights because it is absolutely freezing cold here. And while I am used to living over in Mallorca and the lovely weather conditions that we have, it has been a little bit of a shock coming here and finding it to be so cold and autumnal. There are lots of good flight deals around at the moment. I'll tell you how much I paid for my flights as well over the past few days. I'll tell you how much the trip costs just a little bit later on. Just looking back on the departure lounge today, you can see there are quite a few people heading on out. Okay, so security took about 15 minutes to get through. I would have got through a lot quicker, but they picked out my backpack to check because I did have a couple of liquids in there. Now, when you're going through security at any of the regional airports now in the United Kingdom, you don't need to separate your liquids or your electronics like laptops, for example. However, you are going to get pulled up if you do have liquids in your bag, like I did. And then that's going to increase time on your journey. But anyway, let's head on through duty free. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to say is that flights are really reasonable at the moment. Now, I got a €50 flight, so I got a €50 flight here to the UK with EasyJet. I'm flying back for about €50 as well, and then of course, I hired a car for a couple of days, which I think was about £30. It's really super cheap for this time of year. You won't have to do that in the UK, but you'll probably get a really, really good deal over in Palma. However, I really encourage you to make the most of the final few weeks of the season. The island is still busy, but it's totally worth it. It feels like we've been plunged into winter over here in the UK. And I have to say, even though I really hate leaving my family at home, I'm quite looking forward to going back to the sunshine. Anyway, so what was my flight like coming over from Palma on Wednesday? Well, I have to say I was in a huge rush to actually get it, so I actually nearly missed it, which was just ridiculous. I'm trying to get all my daughter's stuff ready. She's off with her dad. I'm actually flying solo today, which I haven't done for absolutely ages. So on Wednesday, getting to the airport for a 10 o'clock flight, getting all the stuff ready as well, meant that I got to the airport really, really late, and I literally had to run through the airport to get onto my flight. So I still advise get to the airport at least 2 hours before travel, even if you are just travelling with hand luggage. And of course I'm just come over with my backpack, but still get there 2 hours in advance, because there's loads of traffic actually going into the airport as well. So even if you're getting a taxi, you can get caught into a queue heading towards Palma Airport. Also, the traffic can be pretty bad as well around the airport first thing in the morning, with rush hour going on as well. Well, again, there's a bit of a queue getting into the airport as well, so leave plenty of time. Don't do as I do, get there in plenty of time, and you can have a much quicker route through the airport. The check-in desks as well were really busy, but the good news is that heading up into security, that only took about 5 minutes to get through. But you can see here from the footage I'm laying on this video that it was actually really, really super busy. So just bear that in mind. So you have to take everything out of your bag, like your liquids and your laptop, over in Palma Airport, which is a bit different to what's going on over here in the UK airports. Okay, so heading on down towards Terminal A and down to security. Well, I was very lucky actually. It was midweek. If you fly midweek, you're not going to find as many people travelling, which is what I was banking on actually. And I think I was actually quite lucky that I didn't encounter too many queues. But it's a lot quicker actually travelling without kids, going through the airport and just heading on through passport control. Now, I have got some news, and I actually think that we've got the onset of the EES, the entry and exit system, coming up in November. It's not completely confirmed yet, but I do believe it's going to make that passage through Terminal A a little bit quicker for anyone flying to a third country, such as the United Kingdom, outside of the European Union. Now, getting through those little electronic gates is actually quite fast. You just pop your passport in, it reads your passport, the gates open, and at present you have to then join another queue to get your passport stamped. Now, I still had to join that queue, but I just flashed my residence card, which obviously meant that I didn't get my passport stamped. So hopefully, with that EES, with the entry-exit system, when your passport is read at that first checkpoint, that should be it. It should get you through a lot quicker, so it'll then avoid having a secondary queue. A little police desk as well to get your passport checked and stamped. So fingers crossed that's going to be a lot quicker and a lot better. The only hold-up I see really is going to be families. If they've got lots of families sort of travelling with kids, then these passports are still going to be manually checked, I do believe. So just be aware that you could still face delays getting through. Okay, so what was the flight like coming over to the UK? Well, I have to say it wasn't too bad, but I have to warn you that I was travelling EasyJet, and they've started to implement exactly what Ryanair are doing over here in Bristol Airport, and that is checking the size of your bags before you travel. So as you go through the departure gate to get onto your plane, they've got the baggage sizes out. Someone's asking you to pop your bag into the baggage sizer. Of course, if it doesn't fit, they're going to ask you to pay to put that bag on the plane. So I'm warning you now, don't bring extra luggage. Make sure your bag fits the sizer, check the dimensions of the luggage as well, and also bear in mind as well that the size of carry-on luggage onto Ryanair and EasyJet does differ too. You get a little bit more baggage allowance on EasyJet, a little bit less of course with Ryanair, so just bear that in mind and double check that, because I don't want you to get stung at the airport when you're leaving to go home, just as you think your holiday's over. You don't want to be lumbered with another almost €100 charge to get your bag checked into a plane, so watch out for that. Anyway, we're waiting on the runway for quite a while, but the flight was absolutely chock-a-block going back as well. I couldn't believe how many people were travelling. So like I said, there are lots of people over in Mallorca on holiday at the moment, making the most of cheaper travel and cheaper travel dates. Okay, it looks like my flight's about to board soon, so I'm going to have to make this quick. But the flight went quite smoothly. We did have a bumpy ride though, because of course at this time of year, just like the weather that we have over in Mallorca at the moment, we've got weather fronts moving down, so we had quite a bit of turbulence going back. So that's really the big summary from the flights, but you still have about 3 weeks to go, so make sure you try and get yourself a flight and just get the last of the winter sunshine. Okay, so it looks like my flight is going to board. I'm going to go and grab a bottle of water. We're going to head towards the gates. Okay, so just looking at the departure board here, our flight has been called, and we are departing from gate 3. Now, I can't believe it today, they're not actually checking the sizes of people's hand luggage. This year, where they haven't actually checked the size of the hand luggage getting onto the plane, and I can already see there are possibly a few offenders with hand luggage a little bit bigger than they should be, but there's no one here to check, so happy days, happy days. It's a beautiful evening this evening. We're actually leaving the UK in nice weather, which is also another first. Anyway, I'm sat right down the back of the plane, so let's go and find my seat.
I would weight and balance rules, so for your safety, you must occupy your allocated seat. Please stow all small bags and duty-free bags under the seat in front of you. Captain's just come on to say it looks like we're leaving on time, which is fantastic news. The air hostess actually reads out all about the flight. She's got all the notes on her phone as well, so that's quite interesting to see. But the captain has also said that people have been caught vaping on the stairs on the way into the plane, and they've got no tolerance, got zero tolerance regarding vaping and smoking on the flight. Let's see if that happens. Now, we are in October. Magaluf is actually largely closed. All the big nightclubs have now closed, so I don't think we're going to get that kind of crowds on Ryanair today. The flight is packed. I think every single seat is taken. So fingers crossed it's going to be a pain-free journey, but I'll tell you now, I just want to get back to Palma. Anyway, let's see how this flight goes. Okay, so our flight is due to depart at 10 minutes to 5. It's about 9 minutes to 5 and we're heading towards the end of the runway, which means that we're pretty much going to be on time. Now, it's not often I say something positive about Ryanair, because normally as the day goes on, you tend to pick up flight delays, which is why I always recommend flying early in the morning, because at least you know that flight is going to leave more or less on time. If you do get flight delays, it's going to be in the afternoon and evening, but not today. And for that reason, I'm very happy to be flying Ryanair. I never thought I'd ever say that. But anyway, looks like we're going to take off in just a bit. Okay, so you can see why I'm living over in Mallorca. Check out the beaches over here, just south and west of Bristol. This might well be Weston-super-Mare that I've just passed by. You can see around the Bristol estuary here, the water's pretty brown. Not as swimmable as it is over on Alcudia Beach or down in Palma de Mallorca, I've got to say. It's still quite pretty, and look, we're just looking out over towards Wales this evening.
quickest flight I've been on for quite a long time. It took less than 2 hours to arrive here in Palma Airport from Bristol. The wind was on our side. Let's go and see how busy it is over at border control. Now, as I said earlier on in this video, Fridays are notorious for being very, very busy over here in Palma. Let's see if we can get through passport control quickly. Well, it certainly is busy over here at the airport this evening. My goodness, it's not just the flights coming in, it's people waiting to go out again. And we've got a full flight heading on back to Bristol too. Just having a quick look around the airport. Just taking a quick look at the board going out. I can see quite a few delayed flights. That doesn't bother me though, because I'm going home. Can't wait. I haven't seen my daughter for 3 days, so quite looking forward to catching up with what's been going on in her world. And it's the start of quite a busy weekend too. But anyway, getting through the airport has not been too bad this evening. There are no big queues over in security. Quite a few lively passengers though coming through tonight. You can see the signs up here saying that we're working on improving the airport, and that is what they're going to be doing over the winter months. Terminal A, or Module A, is going to be closing around the end of October. The first few days in November we're going to see it close. We're going to see all the flights being funneled back through Terminal C. We'll continue work over here in Terminal A to improve it for next season. Is that going to be my last flight through Terminal A this season? I'm not quite sure. We shall see. But in the meantime, as I come through the baggage hall here, at least I don't have to wait for a case. I'm heading straight on up to the 4th floor, back over to the car park to go and pick up my car and head on home. It's the quickest flight ever, and well, living in Mallorca means pretty much catching planes like buses over here if you need to get off the island to go and see the family. Really glad I did it for a couple of days. It was just really, really nice to get away. Really, really nice to see my mum as well. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. I hope this video proved useful. Like I said right at the beginning of this video, you've got a couple weeks left to get yourself a late summer break before the island moves into winter mode. But then it's not all over yet for the rest of the year, because of course the winter is a lovely time to come out and see us. But I'll have more about that in my future videos. Okay everyone, don't forget you can find me on the Facebook group and on my Instagram, also called Mallorca Under the Sun. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Goodbye for now.